Okay, class, so today I'm going to start with a mini lesson about peer review. So some of you may have studied this before or feel familiar with it, but we're really going to go into detail in today's lesson about how important it is to be a good peer editor, especially as we move forward into writing our argumentative essays, because it's going to come in handy when you're able to edit your friends' papers and they're able to edit yours back, and it'll help you become a better writer as well as, get better grades in your argumentative essays, as well as anything you write in the future for my class or for any class. So keep that in mind. I have the standard up here for what our mini lesson is going to cover today. It is the literacy writing, grades 9, 10, number 5. So it talks about being able to revise and edit and rewrite. So that's what we're going to be covering today. So before we go into detail for peer review, I want to remind everyone our ideas about respect in this classroom. So we know that I tolerate no disrespect towards me, towards each other, or to the ant on the floor, because that's not how this classroom works. So it goes the same for peer reviewing. This is not the time for you to write on your friend's paper, "Wow, this sentence really sucks." Okay, because that's not going to help anyone. It's not going to help you. Your friend is going to get mad. I'm going to have to get involved. It's going to be a whole thing that we don't want, okay? So be respectful. So while peer reviewing, be respectful, be constructive, and be positive. So we want to keep this, this is going to help you and your friends. So remember those things when going into reading your friends' works, always. So let's start with these 3 words about peer reviewing. Compliments. Okay, well that's easy. So you read your friend's paper and you see a sentence that is good. All right, this sentence is good. Compliment, easy, and it starts things off on a positive note. You read a thesis and you're like, "Wow, this thesis really hooked me," right? "Wow, this thesis really hooked me." There you go, compliment. Suggestions. Okay, so this is where you're going to say, "Oh, this thesis didn't really hook me." So you're going to say, "Hey, I suggest revising this thesis," or "I suggest revisiting the idea of this thesis. This thesis is too broad, this thesis is too narrow," things like that. Then corrections. So this is going to be your specifics. So you're going to mark something incorrect, mark something correct, things like that. Capitalization, punctuation, everything like that. Okay, and then after these 3, while thinking about these, they're going to inadvertently allow us to think about the next 3. So word choice. This is if I choose the right words in trying to describe what the idea I was trying to get across. So, did I use a word that is on my vocabulary level? Or is it a little bit too elementary and should I look up another word? So you read your friend's paper and you say, "Oh, there's a better word option than this one." Okay? Sentence structure. So that is the structure of your sentence. I know it sounds silly, but it's very important. So is my noun, verb, adjective, adverb, are they all in the right order in the sentence? Does it make sense? Is my adverb actually being used as an adverb? Things like that. And then organization is of the entire essay. So that is, are my paragraphs lined up correctly? Does my conclusion come at the end and my introduction come at the beginning? Things like that. An example would be if you wrote a really good body paragraph and you had a sentence thrown in the middle and your friend reads it and your friend is like, "Oh, this is a really good sentence." It could be a closing sentence. So then your friend would say, "Hey, try this as a closing sentence." There you go, organization. Okay, next we're going to get into the more specifics of editing. So I have revising and then I have editing. And I have them separately because a lot of the times we think about these 2 words synonymously, and they're actually pretty different. So revising is going to be a little bit of the bigger picture, really focused on your sentence structure and things like that, whereas editing is the specific nitty-gritty down to, every period. So I have these mnemonic devices, acronyms, if you will, for you to help remember and keep these things in the forefront of your mind while editing. Now, some of you might think, oh, acronyms is so silly. It's not. It's going to help you. And it's going to help me when I'm grading your papers, and it's going to help you edit, and it's going to help your friend be able to revise. Okay? So, while revising, we're going to think about adding words. Okay, so what does that mean? That's saying if you have a simple sentence and you think, wow, I think that this sentence needs an adjective to describe the noun that you're talking about. Okay, add the word in, write it in for your friend, and we'll go over some examples in here in just a minute. So while we're revising, we're going to think about also removing words. So let's say a sentence has too many words, too many adjectives. And you say, don't need this one describes it perfectly fine, it's enough. And what we're talking about here is what's really going to take your paper from that B+ to an A. Okay, so while revising, we're also going to think about moving words. So this goes again with sentence structure, and are my words in the correct order? Does my adjective modify my noun? Does my adverb modify my verb? Things like that. And then while revising, we're going to think about substituting words. Okay. So this goes again with, am I using the correct vocabulary level? So am I using a word that maybe could be substituted with a higher level word? Okay, so think about arms while you're revising. When you're editing, we're going to be thinking about cups. Okay, so like I said, this is the specific step. So editing is, we're going to be thinking about capitalization. So are the words that need to be capitalized, capitalized, and are the words that don't need to be capitalized, not capitalized? Very simple stuff, but very important in helping you become a better writer and that grade go up and up and up on the scale. So editing, we're also going to be thinking about usage. So this is the same with word choice kind of sentence structure, where you want to say, am I using the words as the correct term that I want to use them in? So am I using a noun as a noun? Am I using an adverb as an adverb? Am I using a verb as a verb? Things like that. Then editing, of course, punctuation. So it's super important to make sure that all of our sentences end in some type of whether it's a period or an exclamation point or a question mark. We want to make sure that our sentences end, and we want to make sure that we are using correct comma usage, that we are focused on parentheses when necessary, quotation marks when necessary, everything like that. And let me just tell you how important semicolons are. Because I find more and more people are scared of semicolons, and that just drives me crazy because semicolons, there's a use for them. And they can make your essay flow better when you use them, when you connect two thoughts, when you connect two sentences, and things like that. So don't be afraid to use semicolons. Okay, this is my little rant about semicolons today. Because when I read your paper and I see that you're correctly using semicolons, I'm like, wow, someone knows how to use semicolons, and it gets me really excited because this is what I want. Okay? This is what's going to make you a better writer. This is what's going to help you very shortly when we write our essays, and on and on and on throughout, your entire writing career. Okay, and then lastly of editing is spelling. Oh, and this does make me sigh because I am a high school English teacher, and I am not a great speller. I had to check myself while I was writing substituting to make sure I spelled it right. Because, surprise, surprise, I grew up in the world of spell check, where Word and PowerPoint spell checked everything for me. So, it's hard. I'm not a great speller, but the thing with it is that spell check does not catch everything. It doesn't. Whether it's on Word or PowerPoint or any Microsoft that spell checks for you, or Apple, I know my Mac spell checks for me, it doesn't catch everything. So I have looked like a fool before turning in a paper to a college professor where I wrote choose instead of chose because I spelled it wrong and spell check didn't catch it. So it wasn't the word usage, I was spelling the word wrong. So that is why it's so important for you to edit your peers' papers and go through these cups and make sure that these are here, because that's what's going to make a difference in a good essay and a great essay. And I want you all to have great essays. Okay, I really, really do. I don't just say that. I want to be able to grade them correctly. So let's go over some examples of everything we just talked about. I'm going to use a red pen. I want everybody to use a red pen while peer reviewing. And I will have some red pens on my desk. And I don't grade in red pen because I like a certain kind of marker. They don't come in red. So then your peer will know that if it's in red, it's for me and not for me. So let's go over. I have two sentences right here. This first one, the United States population is growing at such a quick rate, it is scary. Okay, so it's not a bad sentence. We know we have the subject, the verb, we know what's going on, and we know the action. Okay, but here we have some word choices that maybe we could change. So I have a squiggle and a straight line here by word choice. When we have a word that we think is strong and good, we're going to put a straight line. When we have a word that's like, well, iffy, we're going to put a squiggle. So if I were reading this sentence in my friend's paper, I would say, quick and scary are iffy words, because at this high school level, we can think of words that are better, higher vocabulary to go here. So I might say, the United States population is growing at such a rapid, I'm going to write the word rapid and do a little question mark so that they know that it's my suggestion. At such a rapid rate, it is maybe alarming, okay? And question mark so that they know that that is my suggestion. Okay, so what else is wrong with this sentence is we're going to go through cups and we're going to say capitalization. Wow, United States is supposed to be capitalized and it's not. So what you do is you just mark through and you write the correct capitalization. We don't want you to squiggle through it because that's a big no-no and your friend won't be able to tell what you changed. And so we need to keep that. And then let's go to punctuation. We see that, well, this sentence doesn't have a period. All we got to do, put a little period right there. And we did it in red so our friends know that we did it. What else? It's missing signs of ownership or possession. So we're going to put in that little, so that we have United States population. It's showing whose population? The United States. Okay, and then let's go to this next sentence very quickly. The ball rolled down the hall very quickly. So, the ball rolled down the hill very quickly. Very quickly. You could get away with it, but I want to go through my arms and I want to say, I think I might remove a word. So if I removed very, and this is kind of just to show you a little bit of the shorthand to use while editing, I'm going to mark out the word very. Okay? Because, and I'm not squiggling it out, I'm just going to draw a line through it. Because our friend might see this and say, no, the ball really did go very quickly. I want to keep that. So this is an instance where we want to see good editing, and we want to see our friends being able to revise well. Okay? So, and you don't squiggle out, you just draw a straight line through it. Never squiggle anything out. I dropped my pen. Okay, so what I want you to do now is pull out your journal entries from last night, and since it's just a journal entry and we have just talked all of this information real quickly at you, I want you to go through and swap with your partner and peer review their journal entry. Now, there might be a lot of mistakes because it's not an essay, it's not a formal thing, it's just a journal entry. So go through and use a red pen, and if you don't have one, I will provide one, and I want you to edit as closely as you can, okay? Because I want you to get that practice of editing, and then I want you to pass it back to your friend, and then you have that practice of looking and revising, okay? So I want you to switch and edit, and then take home and revise. Okay, so that we can practice our peer reviewing and everything that we've learned today and the shorthand that I've taught you real quickly right now, And if you had more time, we'd go through more shorthand. But so keep all of this in mind. And if you want to really work on your peer reviewing and editing, if you have any questions, raise your hand and I will walk around while you are peer reviewing your